Gentrification Impact. How Airbnb fuels Toronto's housing crisis. Hey there, folks. Welcome to a gripping exploration of the housing hustle right here in Toronto. We're diving into how Airbnb is throwing some unexpected twists into the city's rental game. Buckle up, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Picture this. The average rental unit price in Canada has taken a jaw-dropping leap, soaring to a whopping $2,042 in just 1 year. And guess what? Our metropolitan districts are catching the heat big time, with families feeling the burn of unaffordable housing and even packing up their bags. But what's really adding fuel to this fiery situation? Some fingers are pointing towards none other than Airbnb. You heard it right. Local community displacement, driven by the gentrification impact of factors like Airbnb, refers to the unsettling trend of long-standing residents being forced out of their neighborhoods due to rising costs and shifting demographics. As neighborhoods experience an influx of wealthier residents attracted by short-term rental opportunities, property values surge and rent prices soar. This creates an environment where lower-income families and individuals who have often lived in these communities for years can no longer afford to stay. Amid this urban transformation, local shops, businesses, and cultural hubs that once defined the neighborhood are sometimes pushed out as well, eroding the unique fabric of the community. While Airbnb and similar platforms can bring financial benefits to homeowners and stimulate local economies, the displacement it can fuel remains a contentious issue with profound social implications. Airbnb is saying they're not the culprits behind this housing chaos. But you know what they say, the proof is in the pudding. The puzzle we're facing is figuring out exactly how and to what extent Airbnb is stirring this pot. Spoiler alert, we're gonna uncover some real-deal insights that'll leave you pondering. Rising rent disparities, magnified by the gentrification impact, such as that from Airbnb, highlight the growing gap between housing costs and income levels. As neighborhoods experience an influx of short-term rentals, demand for housing surges, driving up property values and subsequently rent prices. This surge often outpaces wage growth, leaving lower-income residents struggling to keep pace. Recent data reveals that in cities like Toronto, the rent-to-income ratio has become increasingly skewed, with a significant portion of earnings being funneled into housing expenses. This can force individuals and families to make tough choices between housing, healthcare, and other essential needs. The trend not only strains the financial well-being of local communities, but also exacerbates socioeconomic inequities. As the debate around Airbnb's role in this scenario heats up, addressing these rising rent disparities becomes a critical challenge for fostering inclusive and sustainable urban environments. Hold on to your hats, folks, because here's where things get interesting. We've got not one, but two punches coming our way from Airbnb. First, it's doing a little disappearing act with long-term rentals. When homeowners switch their cribs to Airbnb listings, it's like a magician making rentals vanish into thin air. This makes long-term rentals scarcer than a unicorn sighting, pushing prices sky high and sending lower-income families on a wild goose chase. But that's not all. The second act hits even harder. The lure of the short-term rental jackpot pulls in fresh investment to scoop up properties like it's Black Friday. Local families, brace yourselves for a real estate brawl. The outcome? You guessed it. The big spenders triumph, leaving the rest in the dust. Over time, this mix and match of wealthies and wanna-haves transforms neighborhoods into a whole new world, gentrification at its finest. Economic imbalances, underscored by the pervasive gentrification impact, refer to the uneven distribution of financial resources within communities undergoing transformation, often catalyzed by factors like Airbnb. As areas experience a surge in short-term rentals, property values and rents skyrocket, leading to a shift in the socio-economic makeup of the neighborhood. This results in a stark divide between the more affluent newcomers and the long-standing residents, creating a complex tapestry of prosperity and struggle. The latest data indicates that the cities hit hard by these imbalances. Local businesses catering to lower-income residents face increased challenges, while upscale establishments flourish. This gentrification-induced economic disparity can lead to reduced access to basic services, diminished social cohesion, and a sense of marginalization among those left behind. Balancing economic growth and social equity is a pressing concern as we grapple with the far-reaching gentrification impact and strive for a more inclusive urban future. Let's zoom in on Toronto, where Airbnb's got the streets buzzing. With over 6.6 million listings across the globe, it's like a virtual hotel extravaganza. We're zooming in on entire homes and apartments. where owners have a ticket to the rental circus. Long-term or short-term, take your pick. But hang tight, because those who are dabbling in the short-term world are shaking up the long-term scene. Get this. More Airbnb listings means fewer long-term rentals. It's like a seesaw of supply and demand, with Airbnb coming out on top. And when just a teensy-weensy 1% increase in Airbnb listings per square kilometer happens, it's like an alarm clock for the long-term rental prices. Up they go by a neat 0.09%. Quite the jump, right? Neighborhood transformation, heavily influenced by the gentrification impact, signifies the profound metamorphosis of local communities due to various factors, including the presence of platforms like Airbnb. As short-term rentals proliferate, the dynamic of a neighborhood changes, often dramatically. The latest data highlights that previously diverse and culturally rich areas can undergo a makeover, with historic landmarks and traditional businesses giving way to modern developments and luxury amenities catering to wealthier newcomers. This transformation isn't just about architecture. It reshapes the very essence of a neighborhood's identity, sometimes leading to the displacement of longtime residents and the erosion of community ties. The ongoing debate centers around the balance between revitalizing urban spaces and preserving the social fabric and character that makes each neighborhood unique. Amid the gentrification impact, finding sustainable solutions that honor both progress and tradition remains a critical challenge. Hold on, the saga continues. The rent gap. That's the difference between what folks can rake in from short-term rentals versus long-term ones. Investors smell money, and they're all in. This sweet temptation to earn more moolah fuels the bidding wars that leave everyone's wallets gasping for air. A 10% surge in this rent gap? Here comes a 3.58% jump in long-term rental prices. That's like tacking on a cool $92 extra per month for an average one-bedroom Toronto pad. Policy changes, intricately tied to the gentrification impact, represent the complex hurdles faced by policymakers as they grapple with the evolving urban landscape, often shaped by factors like Airbnb. The latest data reveals that crafting effective regulations is no walk in the park. Striking a balance between encouraging economic growth and ensuring housing affordability presents a daunting task. Policymakers must navigate the delicate terrain of short-term rentals' influence on long-term housing availability, while considering the social implications of displacement and economic disparities. Recent policy efforts have met mixed success, with attempts to curb Airbnb's effects, sometimes inadvertently limiting new housing development. The multifaceted nature of gentrification impact requires innovative solutions that address the unique challenges of each community, safeguarding the character and inclusivity of neighborhoods while promoting sustainable urban progress. As cities worldwide confront these policy conundrums, the conversation continues on how best to steer the ship toward equitable urban development. Wait, don't press pause just yet. It's not all doom and gloom. For homeowners, Airbnb is like a cash machine, giving them some extra green. Travelers? Well, they're a booster shot for local businesses, and young guns spice up neighborhoods with their energy. But let's not forget the elephant in the room: affordable housing. With over 40,000 Airbnb listings in the spotlight, it's clear they're playing a big role. But remember, they're just one piece of this jigsaw puzzle of housing availability. Now here's where the plot thickens. Our heroes in Toronto tried to whip up a solution, putting a cap on Airbnb stays and principal residences at 180 days a year. But guess what? That might have stirred a hornet's nest. Evidence suggests that this move actually slowed down the development of new housing units. Looks like solving this puzzle isn't as easy as it seems. So there you have it. The impact of Airbnb is not just a walk in the park. We've got gentrification, rent hikes, bidding wars, and even less construction thrown in for good measure. It's a roller coaster ride that needs some creative brainpower to untangle. Keep your eyes peeled, Toronto, because this housing hustle is far from over.